Good evening, all. Welcome back. Remember, like, comment, share the video. Doing regular enough content, obviously all Liverpool content, but today it's mixing it up a bit. Variety's the spice of life, as some would say, and Jimmy reminds me regularly of that. Look, the 141st FA Cup final tomorrow at Wembley is the 150th FA Cup final overall, so it's an anniversary tomorrow, Jimmy. Chelsea, Liverpool, Chelsea in the all yellow tomorrow. I don't know whether it's something to do with the bit of a hoodoo. I think was it last finals, two finals. Jimmy, Chelsea were beaten in was it Arsenal and Leicester last season?
Arsenal and Leicester last season. Yeah, and Arsenal not too long before that as well, when Conte was in charge. So that's four of our last finals in Wembley we've actually lost. So we're looking to overturn that voodoo tomorrow.
Yeah. Look, there's been 3 games this season with Liverpool, Chelsea, all draws. I know the cup final Liverpool won, narrowly won on penalties. Another day of Mount's able to take his chances. Chelsea probably win it or score. I think sometimes it's easier going into a final being a counter-attacking team because it's a little bit risky. And I think obviously that suits Tuchel. I think they're very counter-attacking Chelsea. And I just think you have a bit less to lose, you know what I mean? I don't know whether you just go to 3 at the back, but we'll start with Chelsea. Like Chelsea are the home team tomorrow. I know going in with the yellow jerseys, but what's your thoughts on tomorrow's game overall, and who do you think will play? Because we know Kovacic and was someone else carrying an injury, Kante, but it looks like they'll make it.
Yeah. Well, round 4, here we go. I'm buzzing for the game, to be honest. There's no better way to cap off the season. Like, I know we've still 2 games to go in the league, but Wembley in the cup final day is always a great occasion. It's great fun. I've never actually been over to the game for like that, but I'd love to get over sometime soon when Chelsea are playing in the final. Look, whose thoughts on the game? Quietly confident, not overly confident. Liverpool are definitely the favourites for it. We are Chelsea's form has been very, very under par, I think, over the last few weeks. We have been a couple of terrible performances against Arsenal and Brentford, most notably. But what does give me hope is the fact that we do tend to raise our game when it comes up against the big teams, like Real Madrid for away in the Bernabeu. That was a performance I don't think many Chelsea fans were expecting. And every time we played Liverpool this year, I think we've really showed them that we're well able to compete with them. Liverpool obviously have been on a rich vein of form of late, but their last 2 games, against Spurs and then against the other night, who was that against? Villa. Are they showing signs of running out of steam? Maybe not. Chelsea certainly don't have as much to play for in terms of competing on all 4 fronts. We are this FA Cup, like we have 4th place by the looks of things wrapped up. So even against Leeds the other night, a number of our key players were rested. Liverpool haven't had the luxury of doing that. They're still competing for the league. So we're quietly confident. I don't think any going on the performances we've had against Liverpool this year, particularly like they've all ended in draws apart from that one penalty shootout, which Liverpool edged. No Chelsea player, I don't think, should be going into that game tomorrow feeling that we can't get the result overturned. We've been narrowly... Misfortune has basically cost us, I think, in each of these games so far.
Yeah. I think, look, it's all about, I suppose, being patient and resilient. I think Liverpool will have to be that tomorrow against Chelsea. Just a shout out there, John Wallace, yes, as a new subscriber. Fair play, John. Jurgen quad, nah. Yeah, look, the quad, I know it was talk for a while. Everybody's having a bit of crack, and at times, the longer the season went on and each day and week went on and game went on, it did look a little bit more realistic, but was it ever going to be realistic? And I've said a while back, there was someone I had on a stream, might have been Shawnee, way back, that I can't see a season where Liverpool would win everything and Chelsea and City wouldn't win that. Now it's turned out at one stage it probably looked like Chelsea weren't. There was Abramovich has gone, and Chelsea were in a bad run of form, and there's just a couple of poor results or performances, but even worse the results, because sometimes it's not about the performance, it's all about the result. And the last 2 games we got 4 points, but the performances weren't. I thought against Spurs we were okay, but I think Spurs were just very, very composed. They were very resilient. They obviously went 1-0 up, scored at a perfect time. It was just less than an hour on the clock, and it was always going to be hard for Liverpool to come back in that game. Made a couple of changes against Villa, 1-0 down, done really well to come back and then win the game. So it was a good result in the end, but performance, it was a bit under par overall. But I suppose Villa weren't great either, and sometimes you can get away from home sucked down to how the opposition plays. But I suppose Chelsea coming in the start of the season, they were tipped to have a great season. They were European champions, bought a couple of players, and it was all house in the prairie. But it didn't really turn out that way, Jimmy. I know, look, they can win an FA Cup, still a chance tomorrow, and it could turn out to be good enough. But if it doesn't, it hasn't been tipped. Like at one stage, I know at the start of the season, there were some people expecting maybe they could do better than Liverpool and City, but it didn't really work out like that.
Myself included.
Yeah. And look, I suppose you were going by, you'd every reason to believe, but it didn't really happen. What would be a good season if Chelsea won the cup? Would it be good after the expectations going in, or would it still be something to build on next season?
I think we have to put this season into perspective for Chelsea in particular, because it's been without doubt the craziest year I've experienced as a Chelsea supporter. Like, we're never far from the headlines. We've had numerous manager sackings. We've had numerous transfer bans. These are just common themes of being a Chelsea fan. But this year has been like nothing else. The whole drama surrounding the sanctions on Roman Abramovich having to sell the club. We weren't allowed to sell tickets to home games at sometimes. Our main sponsor was pulling out 3. There's rumours of Chelsea playing without their jersey sponsors on the kit. And other stuff as well. We've had, going back to before Christmas, we had a mammoth outbreak of COVID within the group. And this is at a time when COVID was rampant in the Premier League, but Chelsea just had to fight through it. We didn't get any of our games called off. And even going back to the likes of Romelu Lukaku's interview at Sky, I think putting the season in perspective, we still need to hold our head up high. We did win the World Cup at the end of the day. That's something that we've never done. That was the last actual game that Roman Abramovich attended as a Chelsea owner. So he's certainly going off on a good note. We still won the European Super Cup at the start of the season. We got to a cup final, and unfortunately we didn't win it. We've top 4 place for Champions League next year, solidified now at this point. So all rests on the cup final at the end of it on Saturday. If we get the win, it's going to put it's going to send us off on a high note. It's going to send the players off into their holidays in good form. And I do think, win or lose, we've shown a lot of resilience this year. Tuchel, I don't think there's any manager other than Tuchel who could have led us through this turbulent season. Considering he's had a reputation of falling out with board members and owners in the past, and the likes of whenever he managed PSG and Dortmund, I think his desire and his work rate and his attitude throughout this has just been a credit to him, man.
No, absolutely. When the going got tough this season, he stuck by and he spoke very well, and he was very positive in how he came across in the media, and that's always a good sign. But it's obviously Chelsea are hoping third time round tomorrow to win. We're hoping we can continue the good Wembley form. Look, I was looking there at Chelsea's fixtures, and Liverpool and Chelsea both had a good run to this final, to be fair. Chelsea played Chesterfield, Plymouth, Luton, Middlesbrough, Crystal Palace in the semis, got a good enough win there. And then Liverpool, I think we Shrewsbury, Cardiff, I know in the semis then, we had a nice enough run up until the semi-finals. Then we got Man City, which was obviously tough, but then City made a lot of changes to the team, and I think the 3-2 scoreline flattered City a bit, because it was we really put them to bed in that first half, and it was fairly convincing and it was an easy enough win. But Salah has been off it for Liverpool, former Chelsea player of late. He really has been off it. He's been very hesitant, and I don't know what's happened, but he owes us something big in a final, like the Champions League final against Spurs. He scores the penalty, has a good game. In the final against Chelsea this year, League Cup, he's around, he's doing well, but doesn't get a penalty. Yeah, he does score one of the penalties. But he's due a big performance, I think. I think he really is. All this contract talk and his agent coming out of late hasn't obviously helped either situation. And maybe it's a bit of that. Him losing twice against Senegal for Egypt, committed he is to his country. And the opposite effect has happened to Mane, where he's evolved. He's played more than number 9. He's won for his country. And he's been exceptional in the last couple of months. And obviously the signing of Diaz was similar to when Liverpool signed Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita, Henderson and Wijnaldum evolved. So sometimes when players come in, the others that are already there and partaking evolve and come on better. But the good thing for us is we've gotten obviously the better out of Mane, and Diaz I think has been phenomenal, really has been. He's done everything you've wanted. It's just a little pity for us that Salah hasn't, but maybe tomorrow he might do something. He's always well capable. He's always a great option. But what I love about Salah is, Jimmy, his availability, consistently fit, always going out. And then with the 5 lads we have up front, we've great options there. So we're always going to be a threat. When I look at the lineup tomorrow, it's probably a flip for coin whether Konate or Matip plays. Whenever Konate's played, we're unbeaten. That's a good omen. He came on, didn't he, against Chelsea in the last one? Matip played. But I've seen Matip at times getting a bit bullied of late. And yeah, he's been really good this season. But I don't know who goes in, but I'm sure Klopp on his day. I know Robbo will come back in. Trent will play. Fabinho will. Huge loss, especially against Chelsea, a counter-attacking teams. I said Fabinho's the general, in my eyes, the general in midfield, complete all-rounder, unbelievable. So for me tomorrow, someone was asking me today, who plays in midfield? Does Milner come in? I don't think so, even though he'd be up for it and he'd demand the best and he's a man for the big occasion. And
Henderson come in, no?
I think Henderson, Keita and Thiago will play tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's a strong enough midfield, but I wasn't all impressed with Keita during the night. Keita's availability's been better, more assists, more goals this season, more game time, but he hasn't always been consistently great for us, and that I hope he just turns up tomorrow. We need him to turn up. And then for me, I would go with Salah, Mane and Diaz up front over Jota and Firmino. I think they're great options to come on. But for me, that's probably the team. But it's a flip for coin whether Konate or Matip comes in. Konate is huge, bigger than Van Dijk, Colossus, very fast as well. He has different attributes to Matip, but Matip's a bit more composed, more experienced, and just a bit more composed. And he obviously got the goal in the final, but then was ruled offside, and then Chelsea a couple of goals, and they were all ruled off. Yeah. It was a mad final. It really was mad. But
crazy.
Yeah, look, it's a showpiece. It's good to see fans back, I suppose, at Wembley tomorrow. Like, I don't know what your opinion is, Jimmy. Wembley's a bit, like, it's a big stadium, but you have half of one set of fans, half of the other, and then a lot goes to people in the FA and all. It's a bit overhyped, Wembley. Like, I know it's great for the final and it's a stadium, but like, it's not somewhere you want to play every week, is it?
Well, I think that's the whole idea of, is it? Like, that's I love it. I love the way. I love seeing one half red and then one half blue. I think it gives a real nice atmosphere. Yeah. Like, I remember, who was it against us or was it against City in the FA Cup semi-final? The Liverpool fans really took over. They turned that into a real carnival atmosphere. They were singing throughout the game. I think
it was against City in the semis. Yeah, they did. Yeah. It was a good. And now, look, to be fair, and it's not a dig at City, but the fan base, obviously, they have a lot of good and passionate fans, but it wouldn't have the numbers of Liverpool. And I know, no, because for a long time they weren't around. And like you've seen growing up over the years, it was Liverpool, United, and Arsenal come in. There was more Chelsea fans, obviously, and Arsenal. And now you might get a few Spurs, City around with. But look, I suppose the new generation will have a lot more City fans, though, won't they?
Yeah. Growing up, you see plenty more kids around knocking around the place with light blue jerseys on them.
Yeah, and they're not all Monaghan jerseys either, are they? Do you get many City fans in Monaghan? No.
I know of one. He's the local bread man, and he gets it in the air all the time over City's performances. I don't even know his name. I just know he's a City fan. yeah. Just call him City. Pep, his new name, Pep the bread man. But look, at both sides have had a nice run to the finals. They really have. Chelsea, I suppose, the toughest was Palace in the semis. What's your predictions for tomorrow, Jimmy? And who's obviously you're going to back Chelsea. I think, look, Chelsea fans, maybe not all, some will be confident. You get a few Liverpool fans. I'm a little bit apprehensive about it. Obviously excited, nervous, but that small bit more nervous with Fabinho out, I think, because of how good he is. Like, he scored penalties. He's had 8 goals since January. Before that, he might have had 1 goal, but he's never contributed in that way. But all round, he's even been better. He's a loss, but
it's a chance, isn't it? Champions League final coming up, other players end of the season to come up. So it's like excuses are one thing, but we can't have any tomorrow, you know.
Like you're going back to saying that Tuchel likes a to play counter attack, and I just have a vision of last year's Champions League final. Rodri wasn't missing for that game, but Pep chose not to play him, and that in the end was what cost him that one goal, that crucial goal that Havertz scored. If Rodri had been there, he would have been covering the space that Havertz went into and broke away. Werner went to the left, Havertz went down the middle, and they could have part the Red Sea. Like that's how they scored that goal. That's the type of area that Fabinho is going to be covering tomorrow. So who knows? You never know. It might be a good omen for Chelsea that we can do something similar to last year. Well, tomorrow's game, I think rewind 2 weeks ago, I don't think I would have had very much confidence in the game at all. Chelsea just weren't playing good enough. But the other game, even though the other night against Leeds, and particularly we have started putting together a good, we played quite well. One thing that is great to see is Romelu Lukaku's form looks like he's hit it. He looks like the player that we paid 97 million for from Inter Milan in the summer. He looks like he's back in form. He's up for it, and he wants to end the season well. He's worked his way back into the starting 11. Kai Havertz has been playing quite well. So Tuchel has a proper selection dilemma up front ahead of tomorrow's game. I would personally like to see the two of them play. I'd like to see Lukaku through the middle and Havertz on one of the wings, and then Mason Mount would be kind of hovering in behind as a 1-2, so in behind the two strikers. Certainly whenever we don't have the ball. Like a number 10, linking midfield and attack. And that, I think this is what he's tried to do every time against Liverpool. He wants to force the play wide. So with two strikers up front, he's going to encourage Robbo and Trent up the field, and then just crowd out the middle and hopefully break on the counter. You've seen that against Leeds. Chelsea's whole play has been, we've been playing much more direct. As soon as Jorginho gets the ball, he's straight into Lukaku. He's looking to exploit the spaces. Fabinho's absence is crucial in terms of that. He's the general at the middle. I know Van Dijk is a great player as well, and he's a great physical presence, but Fabinho would have been a great addition to sort of counteract that.
There.
He would have been a bit Henderson doesn't give you that protection. Henderson's a good player, but he's more energy, and he's more of a
box to box.
Exactly.
Up and down. He is. He's more of an engine, where Fabinho's a bit more reads it better. And just right time, right player.
He
similar to Kante role, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's similar to Jorginho.
Well, I suppose this season, he's added a few more goals and he's a bit more attacking,
He spreads the play quite well. He kind of dips into defence and dips into midfield as he needs to. We have no reason to fear this game. Liverpool have struggled against Chelsea this year. I think we're one of the very few teams that, if not the only team that Liverpool have failed to win over 90 minutes or failed to beat over 90 minutes. So there's no reason for us not to. Lukaku looked very hungry. I know I said that a few minutes ago, but I really fancy him getting on the score sheet tomorrow. Sorry. And prediction 1-0 Chelsea, maybe.
Yeah, you don't think extra time penalties now wouldn't surprise you though, would it?
It wouldn't surprise me. It's going to be tight. We had the luxury of resting Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva the other night. So these guys, although Azpilicueta has looked a pale shadow of the man he has been for the last 8 seasons at Chelsea, he's made 2 uncharacteristic mistakes against Everton and against Leeds, which really cost us in the end of the day. But hopefully the luxury of basically just resting him the other night, having a fresh run into this game, he will be able to, just keep. He's one of these leaders. He's our captain. He's our leader at the end of the day. He's an organizer alongside Silva, alongside Rudiger, Jorginho, Kante, or Kovacic, whoever that is there. I think we do have the players and the likes of the experience there who are going to frustrate Liverpool and just basically get the job done at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's what's happened. It has in the past definitely frustrated Liverpool. The last final, I think Liverpool just had that bit more resilience and patience. We talk about Liverpool having this mentality, and look, they've proven it a lot. Like, Liverpool have been involved in every game this season. I think it accumulates to a maximum 63 games, so went all the way in each competition, which, look, is some going, by the way, as well, particularly when we lost to Leicester at the end of December, went in against Chelsea the first game in January, drew 2-2. It was a great game at the Bridge, and Liverpool then were losing Salah, Mane, Keita, and expected not the worst, but didn't expect the run of form to happen, and it did, and they really kicked on levels, you know what I mean, and the strength came in. The only thing I will say, Liverpool, is 1 defeat in 31 games in all competitions has been some going. A lot of clean sheets and a lot of hard-fought wins, and a lot of different ways of winning games. Like I said, it with the difference of Liverpool and City was Liverpool have a bit more ways of winning games. You don't have to play well, don't have to start off at great urgency, intensity, energy. They can come out and just dog it and be rough and be great and win a game, or be 1-0 down and find a way back, or even get a draw. Another season, maybe the draw against Spurs is good, but like, Liverpool have lost 3 games all season in all competitions, and they might only do that within the whole, is it 59 games or 58 games so far, to lose 3. Now, there's been a lot of draws, and that there's probably been, I don't know, not many, 8 in the league, so there's been, like, the wins have probably been an 80% win rate, or whatever we want to put it into stats percentage, but it's been a lot, so it's been some going. So that's the hope I'm having tomorrow, is that Liverpool do, and that they're probably going to have to start quick. I think the only way Chelsea's game plan would change is Liverpool, not if they went 1-0 up. I think Chelsea be okay with that, with Liverpool going 1-0 up, particularly if it's early. They'll be patient and they're professional enough. But if Liverpool got 2-0 up, let's say, it might be a bit hesitant. They might frustrate. Chelsea might have to change things, and we know Tuchel tactically doesn't like to do that. But we'll wait and see, Jimmy. We don't know, but we'll find out. The kick-off time's a bit strange tomorrow.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be a good game. But do you know what? I don't know whether it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be very intense, and it'll be a tight game, and whoever wins it will edge it. I'm just hoping there's no controversy around VAR or stupid decisions. That referee, John, like Liverpool and Villa, was very poor. Very poor for both teams. John Moss, really awful referee.
I heard Gerrard was very critical of him afterwards.
He was really poor for both teams. He just, he was there, but he wasn't there, and some of the decisions were crazy. But you're going 1-0 Chelsea. I'll go with 2-1 Liverpool. The reason being, obviously, because, look, Liverpool fans have to be confident and should be. No doubt about it. But I think it'll be tight. This will be Chelsea score, Liverpool score. We just have enough inners. But we'll wait and see what happens. We don't know. I just would not want to lose this game. I think this is a game going into a Champions League final. After already, look, the league, obviously, mathematically, it's not over. But I was only saying to you earlier, you're looking at 3 scenarios. Liverpool having to win by a lot of goals in one, City having to lose, and Liverpool having to win the last 2. So there's different scenarios, and I just think Liverpool have pushed City very close this season. 14 behind to be now 3 with 2 games to go is great in itself, and having beaten them in the FA Cup, you take that. City are world class, and let's not forget about that. At Christmas, they'd over. I'd not thrown her in, but I said, let's wait and see what happens. I did expect them to drop points, but I wasn't so sure whether we'd be able to make up that ground, and we did. And we made a good fight in the end of it. So, we'll see tomorrow, Jimmy. But we'll probably wrap it up there. We'll go with we got your score prediction, your lineup tomorrow. Who starts for Chelsea? Because I don't know who's going to start. Like, I think Reece James is back. The last time was the other fullback is had, what's his name? The right full started in the game. Yes, and then was it Alonso started left full?
Alonso was left full, yeah.
The last goal, yeah. So who do you think will start tomorrow?
Well, in goals, it has to be Mendy. Kepa just doesn't, he played in the cup throughout the year, but this is Mendy's time. Like, it's cup final day. You need your best keeper in from the start. I thought Tuchel would go with Kepa in the FA Cup final from the start, or sorry, the League Cup final the last time we played. But he was ruthless. He said no. He threw Mendy back in. He's his first choice.
He come on for a penalty, remember? And he probably looked at the point side of the bad decision, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, look, it's the decisions like this are always going to come under scrutiny. Look, if Chelsea had won that and Kepa saved 1 penalty, Tuchel's the hero, is a mastermind choice. Like, it's just the way things go. Tuchel brought Jorginho on for that shootout and he scored. So that's
exactly,
one good move and that's a bad. So it's just the way things are made out like sometimes. So Mendy in goals, the back three. I think Azpilicueta will slot back into the right side of that with Silva and Rudiger. There is a possibility. I think there is a possibility Christensen might play, but I don't know. I think we need Azpilicueta's experience there on the day. Across the middle, Reece James at right wing back. In the middle, Jorginho is a definite starter for me. He's come back from injury recently and he's played 90 minutes and he looks in decent nick. We haven't got we need someone like him tomorrow. He's going to be crucial. And Loftus-Cheek has played a lot recently, but I wouldn't like to rely on him in a big game like this. He is a good, talented, strong type of player, but he's not. He doesn't give us the same counter-attacking and same drive that the likes of Kante and Kovacic have. Tuchel alluded to them two lads I've just mentioned's fitness in his press conference earlier today. He said at the start of the week that it was a race against time for them to be fit. He said after the Leeds game, after Kovacic got that nasty tackle on the ankle from Dan James, he said that he'd need a miracle in order to be fit for this game. Looks like some sort of miracle has happened behind the scenes at Covent, because he then mentioned today that Kovacic will be available or to play. I wouldn't be surprised if Kovacic starts. I'd be more surprised if Kante starts because he hasn't played in the last few weeks. And then at left wing back, I'll go with Alonso. He's really the only option we have there at the minute. Up front then, Mason Mount, sure starter, he has to play. I mentioned that I might like to see Havertz and Lukaku play. I don't know if Tuchel will go with that. He might favour someone. I can see where he's come from. I think Timo Werner is hit and miss, but he does give you that dead pace behind. Like he gives the likes of the Van Dijk and whoever the defenders are for Liverpool tomorrow that one thing to worry about. He is lightning quick and he can eat up the ground. He might not, his end product and his decision making in front of goal might not always be up to scratch, but he'll certainly get Chelsea up the pitch and he can certainly cause havoc in other ways. I think Lukaku will start. He's started the last two games. He scored 3 goals in them. One of them was a penalty. Yeah, he has to. He's looked a lot better. Like even before he's hit the mark in he got his goals then at the weekend. He had looked well. Like he had looked like he was coming back to himself. He was coming off the bench in a few games and he's causing problems. Against West Ham, he won us a penalty and got one of their defenders sent off. I think it might Craig Dawson, was it someone like that there, got a red card, and that was the 1-0. That was the crucial element that won us the game. So Lukaku starts for me. I'd like to see Havertz play with him. This was the front three we went with against Liverpool in the first game of the year. Do you remember when it went
Anfield, and Havertz scored the header,
Havertz scored the header, but I don't know. Like I do think he'll go with someone like Timo Werner or maybe even Pulisic. He's been looking lively of late.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I don't know whether he will go with the Havertz and Lukaku. It's probably unlikely, but it's a shout. No, it is a shout. Chelsea's 5th FA Cup final in the last 6 years. It's some going, really, isn't it? I know we haven't won all. How many of you won that time? Might have been 2 or 3.
The last one we won was 2018 when Conte was in charge. Hazard beat United. Hazard scored the penalty.
That's right, Hazard. It was 2-1, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was 1-0.
Was it? Oh, it was 1-0 late. Hazard scored. Yeah, it was a tight one, And we haven't been in the FA Cup final since the last time we played Chelsea. Millennium Stadium, was it Cardiff? Or was it, Dalglish was manager then, back when we were going through a big transition, 2012. We'd won the League Cup against Cardiff and then ran Chelsea close that day. Di Matteo won the European Cup and FA Cup that year. It was a good game. Chelsea were a lot better though. Not a lot better on the day, but they were a lot further ahead in the progress than Liverpool were at the time. And now this time it's a bit different, It's all being good for us at the moment, Jimmy. At times this season I was saying we were winning it week in, week out, just winning, and it was just relentless. And there wasn't many talking points apart from us just getting better and better and peaking, and it was great, But
It was
we
just a
just keep
case of
going.
showing up for Liverpool there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like they
yeah,
were just
it was a
steamrolling
lot.
teams.
It was a lot of the
Yeah,
time. Yeah, it was. But there was a lot of times where they did have to really push on, particularly that final against Chelsea, the League Cup final. That was a big resilience. Like Queevy and Kelleher was in goal, and he was
yeah.
done really good. And we're all a bit nervous about that day because Queevy's playing his biggest game ever, and how good was he going to be? And he was absolutely brilliant, I thought. So again, tomorrow
Do you think
will
he'll
be
go with
honest.
Allison tomorrow?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's used
Yeah,
him in the FA Cup. Absolutely. I can't see. I don't. The only change, controversial one that might be for Liverpool is it does Milner come in. And look, I've no problem wherever team Klopp chooses, but I think it's probably going to be Henderson, Keita, Thiago up front. You don't know. I don't think Firmino will come in. Jota could. It's hard to say. Look at it. There's probably 2-3 changes Liverpool could make that you probably wouldn't be surprised with, but I think the team is probably going to be what most people predict. But it's probably a toss for coin with Matip or Kanate. I think he might go with Matip because he's went with him before and just had a bit more experience, and understandably. And he got the goals on right as well, He's had a couple of goals, but so was Kanate this season. He scored 3 in 3 games, and that run he had, the FA Cup semis against Chelsea. He actually might start Kanate, and it might be a good omen because, as I said, we haven't lost since he's been in the team. So we'll see, Jimmy. It's a glorious evening out here now. Lovely out. The weekend's meant to be a cracker as well. So enjoy it when you go back up north, and enjoy the few drinks, and hopefully I'll be video calling you with champagne. But look, we'll see. It'll be one or the other. That's it. That's for certain. It's a final. There's no draws. Jimmy, thanks for coming on, mate. Is that it? Or
no
nothing
bother.
else?
No, that happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, bro. Very good. Excellent knowledge from you, and great to see you. And best of luck, obviously, with the weekend. I'll just take you out there and end the thing. But cheers, Jimmy. Thanks, bro. Right. Yeah, that's just Jimmy gone there. Folks, thanks for anybody that tuned in. It's good to see a new subscriber in John Wallace. And I know a lot of people will probably tune into this later as well. It's great to get Jimmy on. Good lad. Obviously a Chelsea fan, and hopefully it's just one more game he'll be a bit disappointed with tomorrow. I don't mind what Chelsea do for the last 2 games of the season, but just once they don't win tomorrow. But remember everybody to like, comment, share the video, and let's hope Liverpool do it tomorrow. Let's hope it's 3rd time lucky at Wembley this season that we do win 3 in a row at Wembley. I know in the past we've called the Anfield South. It hasn't quite been up until this season that's meant something. Let's hope it does tomorrow. Let's hope we do get the win. And we kick on. Big game then, as Klopp said today in the press conference. Won't be much time to celebrate if we do win, he says, and that's if we win. Because then we've a big game Tuesday night at Southampton, where the race for the title, a lot of us probably don't believe it's on, and it's very hard for us to turn it around now at this stage. But we've still a chance, and that's all that we can ask for at this stage of the season. And the big one is in 2 weeks tomorrow, Real Madrid in Paris. It's a date. We can't wait for that. But big up to everybody. Take care. Have a good evening. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I will be back on tomorrow after the game. We're putting up some content and going out with the game. Might even try and get a vlog together. We'll see what happens. Take care all, and have a good one.